for you. So I'm Darren. I'm the VP of Products for Glympse. As a product guy, one of the things that I do a lot of is spend a lot of time looking at analytics, right? Which sounds kind of boring, except that you can kind of learn a lot of interesting things about your customers when you're pouring through these analytics. So today I'm going to share with you a few stories of some of the more interesting ways people have used our product and some of the most viewed glimpses that have gone over our network in the last few years. Before I do that, though, I'm guessing that not everybody here knows about Glympse, so I want to give you guys a crash course because it makes me kind of sad that somebody wouldn't know about what we do because it's actually pretty cool. So Glympse is a service that provides an easier way to answer a very universal, fundamental human question, and that's where are you, right? And if you don't think that that's a very fundamental, universal, international type of question, all you've got to do is look at the contents of your text messages. So take a look at your own phone and take a look at how many times people are asking the question, where are you? You'll find out that if you're like most people, on any given day, you've probably got a reason to either let somebody know where you are or you want to know where they are. And despite all the advances in technology, we've actually been using the same methods for the last 20 years to let somebody know where we are as we do, we're doing it today the same way we've been doing it for 20 years. Glympse's mission is to change all that. We want to use technology to make that a lot faster and a lot easier. The way that works is we've got an app in addition to the platform, and the app actually enables you to generate a link. The link goes to the other person. You set a time for how long they can see you, and they see you on a map in real time moving. When the timer expires on the link, they can no longer see you, and it's all over. So this is basically a way that we've utilized technology to make this fundamental use case easier. Now, typically people use us for things like letting the spouse know that they're on their way home, their evening commute, or sometimes their morning commute. We get some people using us for emergency situations, whether they're driving in a car on a long distance or whether they're running or cycling at night and they want someone to know that they're going to be safe. And those are pretty common use cases for us. But what's interesting is what you can find out when you start paying attention to the analytics. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some examples of ways people have used Glympse that are kind of interesting. So has anybody heard of San Francisco Bike Party or San Jose Bike Party? Any cyclists in the room? Yeah, so this is a group of people a group of cyclists that love to get out and bike the city. And they all get together. There's probably 600 or 700 of them. And I'm sitting around one day last year, and all of a sudden, it was at night. It was like one Friday or Saturday night. And I got this alert on my phone, Google Analytics. We've got like a huge spike in viewers. Turns out that we've got this group of cyclists actually found our product and said, hey, we've got a problem. We go out on a ride around the city, and we'll get started, and then some people will join us late. They don't know where we are. We can't coordinate. So they actually started using Glympse to coordinate their rides. They then posted it onto Facebook, and what we found out was that this thing just sort of went viral, and all of a sudden, we get these bike and cycling groups from all over the country that are actually starting to use Glympse as a way to coordinate these rides. So it's pretty cool, pretty cool. So this was me on my iPad that Friday night, and I was like frantically texting the team going, you're not going to believe what's going on. So I was capturing these pictures as we went around. And then at one point, I thought I had another one that was zoomed in. There's a photo of the bikers riding the pier and back. It's actually pretty cool. So the other thing that happened was, this was May of last year. I was sitting at my desk, and all of a sudden, the analytics just start blowing up. And I'm like, what is going on? And it's all coming from like Denmark and Germany, all over in Europe, right? Well, has anybody here heard of the Gumball 3000? Okay, so I had not heard of the Gumball 3000, but I found out about it really quick. So the Gumball 3000, if you don't know, is a lot like the Cannonball Run. So the Cannonball Run is an old school movie, Burt Reynolds, Dom DeLuise, right? Can I get a holler for old school films? Thank you. So the Gumball 3000 is like the Cannonball Run of Europe, right? And it is a giant party. It is celebrities, it's brands, it's like everybody's going nuts, and they just haul ass across Europe. All like, I don't know, 6 countries, 7 countries, and they end in Monaco, and it's just a giant party. Well, we didn't know this, but one of the sponsors actually hired a professional bodybuilder, a Polish professional bodybuilder, whose name is Robert Bernica. I should know how to pronounce his name, really, because the results were ridiculous. Just in a single day, I mean, our traffic grew 88% just on people viewing this thing. And they took this bodybuilder. Let's see if I got a picture. Yeah, this is him right here. I actually had a picture that I couldn't find, and he actually is enormous. In this picture, I mean, he's just gigantic when you see him. And there's another picture of him holding this plate full of hamburgers or something. Anyway, the guy's a real character, and they put him in like a Ferrari. I think this was his Ferrari down here, this red one, that one. And just told him just go nuts. And apparently everybody in Poland loves this guy. So Poland just lit up, I mean, with views on this guy's glimpse. And they glimpsed the whole trip. And we ended up having this sort of amazing spike in traffic, and we converted a ton of Polish users, and then actually said, hey, maybe we ought to translate the app to Polish. You know, might be a good idea. So we actually, within like 2 months, we localized the product to Polish and German. So that was Gumball 3000. This one is one that happened Saturday. So Saturday I was down in Austin, Texas at South by Southwest, and we were doing some demos with a partner. We actually partner with GoGo in-flight, the Wi-Fi in the airplane. And so you can actually send a glimpse from the flight. And you don't even have to pay for GoGo, which is kind of cool. You just launch the Glympse app, it figures out you're on a plane, and you go. So we're doing our promotion with them, and I'm trying to get everything set for some VIPs that we're showing some stuff to. And all of a sudden, here it comes again. You know, I get the alert from our analytics service, and it says you got something going on. It's usually good. So this was a television show from Hot Rod Magazine and Motor Trend. I think they have a television station or something, but they do this web television show. And basically what it is these guys that are hanging around talking about cars and stuff. Well, they actually took this old beater Jeep here, and they said, you know, we're going to drive across Arizona, and we're just going to drive until we get tired. We're going to stop at a bar, and the first person to come and pick up our bar tab can take this sucker home. So they're cruising around, and again, I mean, look, I was in Texas. I think this is for Pacific time zone, right? So it's like 4 p.m. here. It was like 6 p.m. there. I'm in the process of doing all this. All of a sudden, bam! And I'm like, something is going on. And I go dig into it a little bit more. Lo and behold, these guys are giving away the world's shittiest Jeep. So that happened, and it actually, you could see that they started their little road trip and then eventually gave it out, and then everybody here, I guess, was disappointed. But what was funny about it is these guys had never really used Glympse before. I mean, this was the first time they were doing it, and they were freaking out. So we have this little counter in Glympse. If you've used it before, you'll know what I'm talking about. When you send a Glympse, you can actually see how many people have viewed you, right? So like, oh, I sent it to my wife. I have 1 viewer. Go me. These guys sent it out. They posted it to Facebook. They posted it to Twitter. They got 11,000 viewers, right? And actually, this was just a screenshot when they crossed that 11,000. They actually went on. They did another Glympse. They got 26,000 people viewing this thing. Somebody did go home with a Jeep, although I didn't see who it was. But it was pretty cool. It was a hell of a promotion that they did. So that was something that was kind of an interesting story behind how people have been using the product. The last one I'll talk about is a radio station in Germany, Radio RSA. It has nothing to do with the RRSA. This is more entertaining. So these guys are just radio hosts, and apparently they've got some goofball over there that just does a bunch of crazy stuff. And at some point, he decided he wanted to just walk across, so he was traveling around doing some kind of a man-on-the-street type of thing in different countries. And they embedded our viewer in their website. And then they just start sending this guy out doing crazy stuff, and he's taking videos along the way. And everywhere he goes, he's sending a glimpse. The traffic on this thing just blew up. I got the familiar vibration on the phone, and I dig into it, and I find this guy just traipsing across Germany and Poland and the rest of Europe, filming videos and sending a glimpse. So it's kind of an interesting thing. This actually happened, yeah, this did happen after we localized it. So that's a good point. I never really took credit for this one, but I think I'm going to take credit for that one. Yeah, yeah. So those are some of the examples of ways people have used Glympse. I'll open it up to questions. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's an interesting question.
Darren, repeat the question, please.
Oh, yeah. So the question was, do you have any warning when one of these things sort of blows up? And I guess I'll answer that by saying that one of the things that we do, I mean, with Glympse, we deal in sensitive information, right? And so we are very protective of people's privacy. And part of that protection of people's privacy and respect for it means that we really don't have any view into what people are doing. Like when the Glympse is over, we shred that. There's no advertising thing that goes on there. And so we're pretty careful about that. So we have some limitations about what we can see and when we can see it. We do have a lot of alarms. So when something like that happens, we usually find out about it pretty quick. Yeah, San Francisco Bike Party we actually reached out to. Because here's the funny thing is the way I find out about these is because the things go nuts and I go, what is happening? And I'll find out that Twitter is referring a ton of traffic to us for some reason. And I'll say, okay, well, what was the screen name on Twitter? And then I'll go and it's a detective. It's a sleuthing kind of operation that I go through, pretty much. Yeah, and yeah, it's a good point, actually. One of the largest, the most common things that customers ask us is the ability to archive their trails. And we have not enabled that for, privacy reasons and whatnot, but we are building a way to do that. And with that will come certain other things where, we want to make sure people are aware of this information is being saved and we'll be able to reach out to them. Oh, yeah, yeah. So they embedded it. They did embed it on the website. And we have a developer portal that allows people to do that. No, it's just a view into our website. And it's just an iframe into our website. And when it expires, it expires. I'm going to get somebody from over here. I'll take you. Ways, yes. Well, maybe. I don't think that we're going to try to actively go into the Waze direction necessarily. What we're building is a platform that solves a very, very common use case. And we see people use that platform in a variety of different ways. So, I think that they've actually got an interesting product. They have a very different objective of what they want to do. They wanted to recreate, they wanted to build maps, right? And they wanted to log traffic data. And that's fine. In order to do what they did, they needed to have accounts in social networks and gamification and all that stuff, and you don't really see much of that in Glympse. So we're not really trying to be another social network, and we're really not trying to mine a bunch of data to recreate maps. We'll work with any map provider. We'll work with any traffic provider. We'll work with any of these people. We're just talking about a very fundamental use case, and it's applicable for consumers, and it's applicable for businesses as well. So one of these days, I'd like to believe that, we'll all order a pizza, and instead of picking up the phone going, where the hell's my pizza, I'm going to get a glimpse, and I'll see my pizza walking up to my front door. So there's a lot of use cases, and that's how we'll ultimately make our money. I'll take it. It's funny. We've been pretty tight-lipped about it. I would say that the last time we announced any number on users was in August of last year. And we announced that we'd surpassed 10 million. I can tell you that the number is significantly higher than that now, in large part due to a lot of the partnerships that we've structured. So we have partnerships with all the major auto manufacturers to embed Glympse into the dashboard of the vehicle so that you're no longer texting and driving. You're no longer making phone calls and driving. There's a statistic that Nokia Research came up with that said that they did a study on the contents of text messages because they know everybody's sending text messages, but what the heck are they saying, right? Well, they found out that 40% of text messages have something to do with location. Where are you? Oh, I'm on my way. I'm stuck in traffic. I'm going to miss happy hour. Can you order for me? What time are you going to be home? Those are the kind of questions that are getting asked roughly 40% of the time. So, yeah, I mean, we find really compatibility with a lot of different products out there. Auto manufacturers, text messaging and messaging applications, all those kind of things. I'll take you. Well, so this is another thing, right? We're not trying to be a new technology for location pinpointing. What we do is we utilize the capabilities that exist on the platform. So we're as accurate as your phone is, and we're as accurate as the hardware that we're on. We use everything at our disposal, certainly everything that the user will allow us access to. So that means Wi-Fi, that means wide area networks, that type of thing. Take one more. Sort of obsessed. Wow, the question was how worried are we about battery life? Say again? Yeah, the question was, do I sense improvement in battery life soon? Yes. So I'll make a really specific comment about that. Android has a new location API called Fuse that they released at the last Google I/O not quite a year ago. And that actually does significant improvements in battery life. There's some trade-offs to it, so it's not perfect, but that's pretty good. iOS has a little ways to go on that front, but we actually have some interesting little tricks that we do on our side to improve battery life overall. Red, how am I doing on time?
One more question.
One more question? I'm going to take one way over here. Can I give you my T-shirt here? I'm just going to... Let's talk afterwards. I'd like to know what you're talking about. I mean, for whatever it's worth. Yeah. Oh, so the question was, are there any incompatibilities between iOS and Android, like two people interacting and stuff like that? And the answer is, yeah. There's a ton of incompatibilities with everything. Nothing in the mobile world, as many of you know, is very standard, so we're constantly making accommodations. And there's trade-offs along the way. But, and we all do the best we can. And frankly, the best thing we can do is probably provide good customer service, because you're never going to get it right 100% of the time, even if you try. But you can at least give somebody a good experience when they have problems. So that's kind of what we focus on, too. Oh.
I'll let that one fly.
Okay, you're going to let that one slip? That's good. That's a good one, yeah. So that's good question. So I mentioned that we're a platform company, right? And I talked about the consumer use cases here. But really the way we make money is through licensing the platform. So I mentioned that we have relationships with Mercedes, Ford, BMW Mini, Chevy, Volvo, Land Rover, Jaguar. I'm sure I'm forgetting one of the auto manufacturers. We also have a relationship with Verizon Wireless. So if any of you Verizon subscribers, so they have Verizon Messages. Glympse, there is a G button in Verizon Messages, the new version that they came out with a few months back. And you can literally share location there. So we also have a relationship with BBM. Any BlackBerry users in the audience?
Crickets.
Any BBM users? Anybody using BBM? Crickets. Well, believe it or not, there's about 60 million other people who do use BBM. And it's a lot of international, actually. So we actually license the platform to those sorts of developers as well. So, and ultimately, there's an interesting enterprise play for us as well. So that's how we make money.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's
Thank
here
you.
for Darren at Glympse.